حضورنا الكريم، الحوار التالي سنقدمه ببعض الأسئلة. ما هو مستقبل إدارة المشاريع؟ وما هي الطرق والاتجاهات في إدارة المشاريع؟ هذه الأسئلة تجيب عليها السيدة جينيفر ثارب، رئيسة مجلس الإدارة في معهد إدارة المشاريع PMI، في حوار يحمل العنوان الاتجاهات المستقبلية في مجال إدارة المشاريع. رحبوا معها والمع الإعلامية أيضا صبا عودة من قناة الشرق الإخبارية.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming in today. I'm sure you agree, and from a lot of what we heard this morning, we live in interesting times, but you did not need me to tell you that. But as a news anchor, in any one given day throughout the whole of last year, I have been juggling stories and headlines ranging from a raging war in Europe to pressing financial conditions, climate change disasters, technological advancements that keep going at neck-break speed. Every morning on my show, I try to make sense of all these issues, and I try to distill them and bring to my viewers the information and insights they need to make the right decisions for their businesses. Now, as the problem solvers in those businesses, how are project professionals shifting to accommodate those pressing issues? In this ever-changing world, project management is a vital force of innovation and organizational behavior. More than ever, organizations are having to evolve and adapt and adopt sustainable processes and practices in asset and project management to ensure their long-term continuity, but also financial success. To shed more light on these questions and a lot more, luckily, I have Jenifer Tharp here, who has built a reputation for operational excellence and innovative thinking. Jenifer is chair of the board of directors of Project Management Institute. She's president of Mastodon Consulting, and PMI is a co-organizer of this particular event. Jenifer works and partners with small and large businesses and companies worldwide to drive organizational transformation. And notably, importantly as well, Jenifer has developed strategic plans for public companies, municipalities, and also for the state of California. Jenifer, thank you very much for coming in and giving me the next 15 minutes and sharing your expertise with our audience. So, what are the trends that you and PMI have identified that determine the future, that look to draw the future of project management?
That's a great question. I think it's a perfect question for here today because I love coming to Dubai. Dubai is the future. Dubai is at the forefront of so many of the trends and changes that we're seeing in the world. It's a wonderful place. I know I've been following closely the Economic Agenda 33 with 100 transformational projects that are going to be changing the world over the next decade. Just fascinating stuff. And so when I think about this conference is also very close to my heart because as we move forward and we're fostering well-being, we know that the Dubai International Project Management Forum is very good at centering the experience of the project manager in ensuring that they're able to have phenomenal impact and are able to make ideas a reality. So it's very exciting to be here and to be a part of the partnerships that have brought us here, like with the RTA and the DWA. So, and talking about future trends. So let's talk about these mega trends.
Yeah.
So every year, PMI puts forth a report of these are the new mega trends that project managers need to be aware of. And the idea is we all see so many changes happening in the world around us. Which are the ones that are going to have the most profound effect on organizations and project managers worldwide? Which are the ones that project managers need to be aware of? So in our most recent report, we identified a bunch of trends, things like digital disruption, climate change, economic shifts, demographic shifts, labor shortages, as well as civic, civil, and equality movements. So a bunch of different changes that we're seeing. If I can focus on a couple of those right now, digital disruption. We've been hearing a lot about that this morning. In every session, people talking about changes in AI, changes in a lot of the technologies that are coming around us. I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I hear about these things, it feels like science fiction. It feels like something that's so far away from the work that I'm doing as a project manager. But it's so important for me to understand these technologies and to, take it upon myself to think about, well, how could this technology impact the work that I do? How could AI be used in construction or be used in any of the projects that I'm working on? And to do some exploration to see how we can harvest this digital disruption in order to be stronger. Similarly, the climate change.
Could I just ask you, on technology and AI, how do you get, you talk about that you need to understand them as a project manager on a particular project, how important it is to have a good grip of the tools that are there, these disruptive tools, in fact, in order to optimize your work and your project.
Yeah, it's very true. I know, here's a pretty good example. A couple years ago, I was faced in one of my clients, we started hearing more about like how we can do data analysis better in order to come up with different decisions. All of a sudden, I'm seeing all these data dashboards, and I've never dealt with these before. And my initial reaction is like, well, I'm a really good project manager, and I don't know anything about this, and I've been very successful. Maybe I don't need to know about this. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be so much more powerful if I adopt these new tools and figure out, okay, how can this data that I've been successful without, if I now have this information, how can I move my organization to the next level?
So quite a bit of upskilling and retraining is required. New information, new skills and expertise need to be acquired.
That's right.
So with this technological disruption, is that ever going to take the place of the project manager?
That's a very good question. And it's never really going to take the place of a project manager, because at its core, project management is about communication, it's about collaboration, it's about how we work together to accomplish something. And that's one of the miracles, I think, of these new technologies, is there are aspects to every job that may be kind of rote, kind of boring, kind of not very interesting. Let's automate those parts of the job so that I can spend more of my time making strategic decisions, understanding the context and the trends around the work that I do, so that I can make better decisions for my organization and for my project.
You were just about to tell me about climate change, but I want to expand that a little bit more and ask you to ask more of you to talk about sustainability in general, which also involves, of course, minding the environment, leading where the environment is concerned, and also looking at changes in society, the ESG, as it were, acronym. How, again, are we able to adapt as project managers, taking all these into consideration to optimize?
Yeah, climate change is a really fun one because it's another one of those examples where you think, well, this is something that's going on in the world around me, but it doesn't necessarily impact my project. I'm not building a water reclamation service, I'm building a building or a bridge or something like that. But the fundamental aspect of sustainability with projects is the way that we always looked at it was a project is something that has a defined start and a defined end. I am assigned by my manager, by my leader in my organization, hey, you need to deliver this project. I deliver it on time and on budget. That's my job. But as our context has changed and as the business imperative of dealing with climate change has changed, we're starting to explore more about how sustainability can be a part of every project. So what does that mean? If I'm working on a project that has nothing to do with climate change, what should I be thinking about? Well, when I start a project, I will start with the charter. The charter determines what success looks like. So I can determine as part of that, oh, okay, my assumptions and my constraints that kind of build the boundaries of the project of what success looks like. I can say, oh, well, it's going to be part of this project that we are going to discourage people from having to work on weekends, that we are going to the product that this project is going to put out into the world, we're going to make sure that it reduces the amount of packaging around it as part of this effort. Or we're going to make sure that it reduces the amount of pollution into the environment.
Right.
So it is your job as the manager of the project that you can build into the scope of the project ways to make sure that you're taking sustainability into account. We can do sustainability assessments, we can do all kinds of things, look at sustainable materials, water reclamation, using recycled goods, and most importantly, think very carefully about the stakeholders of your project. When I start a project, I mean, who are my stakeholders? Well, it's, my boss, and it's the department that I'm doing this for, and so forth. But your stakeholders could be a lot broader. It could be the broader community. It could be NGOs that might be affected by the work that your organization is doing. Who are those broader group of stakeholders that we should bring in to make sure that their perspectives are also included in our project, that our project has a very sensible and reasonable approach to project management that includes those sustainability principles. That is going to take maybe a little bit longer, but it's going to produce a product that is much better for society, and it's much better for the organization and the way the organization is
So I'm understanding
perceived.
that taking sustainability at the heart of your project, you're taking
Yes.
responsibility individually and also as an organization.
That's right.
And how important it is to have to put the vision at the beginning, to start with sustainability. It's not something that you can reverse engineer.
Yeah, and I think that is an important perspective because I think that organizations that are just starting to get involved with sustainability think, oh, it's just, I just need to hire a young, excited college graduate and have them put out a sustainability report, and we're still going to keep doing what we're doing, but we're going to put out some reports that make us look better.
No.
The world doesn't look kindly on that anymore, so we need to build sustainability into all the practices that we have, and the way that we create change in organizations is through projects. So if we're not building sustainability into the projects, we're not going to become more sustainable as an organization.
So we talked about upskilling, we talked about new ways of working. How and what could that be?
That's a great question. One of the things that I think I hear a lot about is the whole agile way of working.
Right.
And agility is a concept that for many of us, it came out of some of the concepts of software development, right? So we think of an organization doing agile software development. It's a methodology that's used there.
Right.
But slowly but surely, agility has spread out into other areas in the organization. Now, organizations want to make decisions, strategic decisions, in an agile way. And we're also learning that agile project management can be applied to areas that we never thought possible. I've talked with people who build airplanes in an agile method. There's agile methods that are being built into construction and kind of areas where you think that traditional project management would be the only way to do things because of risk, because of dependencies, and we're discovering no, there's a lot of different ways, especially with a lot of the new tools that are coming available, that you can build agility into all different kinds of projects.
Could you build agility into those projects while remaining sustainable?
That would be ideal. And I think that you're bringing up an important point, which is the amount of complexity can really increase as you're trying to, not just manage a project to the best of your ability, but also take into consideration, I've got those new stakeholders, and it can definitely add to the complexity and to some degree the amount of risk of the project to address these issues.
So we talked about being responsible, sustainability meaning responsibility, and part of that is being responsible in your consumption, being responsible in what you put in, and also what you use up. So how can you, as a project manager, ensure that responsibility is upheld and it's used daily?
Yeah. So in organizations, as change takes place through projects, in the same way, regular operations also need to take sustainability into account. And it's a lot of conversations that you can have within your own organization. Most of us are in organizations where we say that we have particular values that guide the decisions of our organization. So I find many times that going back to those list of values and saying, can we operate in a way that is not inclusive of sustainability and still live up to the values that we have? So those kind of conversations are very important.
So Jennifer, what does responsible consumption look like?
Responsible consumption is in a lot of cases, it's a decision that every person and every organization needs to make. As you need to become familiar with all of the operations of your entire value chain. Who are your suppliers? Where are your raw materials coming from, all the way to the conclusion of the work that you do? And how can we ensure that we're building into the contracts that we have with suppliers, for example, this is our way of working, these are our values, these are our sustainability principles. If you cannot abide with this, then please do not bid for this contract. So it's definitely a principled stance, but it is a very good way of you being able to say at the end of the year, these are the things that we developed, these are the products that we put out into the world, and we know that from beginning to end, we have followed these principles that are important to us.
So we've covered quite a lot, but if we were to take a step back and look at what is the likelihood of your project succeeding? What is the likelihood of your project ending up being financially successful and and succeeding for the long term, having longevity? If those new trends that you have identified now are not followed, are ignored, just going back to traditional project management. What is the likelihood of you and your project being left behind in this world?
Right. One of the benefits of taking these things into account at the beginning is you are reducing the long-term risk of your projects causing damage to your organization's reputation. You are ensuring that your way of working is going to make your organization stronger, that your organization will be economically, financially sustainable as a result of having addressed these issues going forward. The days of being able to sit in your office and work on a spreadsheet and then say, okay, I'm done, that was the project management world of 20 years ago, and unfortunately that's not the project management world of the future. But I find it incredibly exciting because it means that I, as a project manager, can have much greater impact in the work that I do.
So just to sum up very quickly, we started by asking what are the future trends in project management. If you were just to count them on your fingers, could you just sum them up?
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about digital disruption. We talked about climate change, also economic and demographic shifts, labor shortages that many of us have seen, and finally civic, civil, and equality movements.
Jennifer Tharp, thank you so much. Thank you for your insights and for you giving us the time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you all for attending. Okay.